Hey you guys, I see there's a couple of you already on. We will get started right in about 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm going to step away, but know I'll be coming back. And I just have a couple more things to set up before we get going. I'm so glad you're here. Let's see here. Okay, I will be back in just a few. Okay, so we still have about 2 minutes until we get started. I see there's 3 people here so far, and hopefully we'll get a few more. If not, that's totally fine and perfect. The 3 of you who are here, if you know any friends who might enjoy a session like this, you're welcome to invite them in right now. We've still got a couple minutes until we get into the meat of the session. And as we're waiting, I would love to hear in the chat, in the comment box, where you are watching from. This is so fun that technology can connect us all over the world. And your interaction makes it a little less awkward for me. I find it very awkward just to be talking into a screen, looking at myself. So let me know that you're up there. Let me know where you're watching from today. Let's see. I'm gonna see. Do you see a little comment box there? Chat, viewing, live chat, okay. If anybody can hear me, just put one thing in the chat box for me. Well, it's about 4 o'clock here in Denver. Okay, Marla or Maria? Marla can hear me. Thank you so much. British Columbia, that sounds so beautiful right now. Oh, Seattle, that beautiful Pacific Northwest. I'm from Oregon originally and I miss it this time of year. Thank you. Okay, well, you're making me know that I'm able to be heard, at least. Joining joining me, please tell me where you are viewing from. Yes, whoop whoop, Pacific Northwest. Anybody else? Sometimes in my Friday yoga classes, I have somebody from Tobago, which is so amazing to me. I've also made connections with people through Yoga Download in Madagascar, and of course Europe and Australia. So fun. All right, so we may have just a small group, and that's absolutely perfect. I do ask that you do involve yourself in the chat today so that this can be more interactive. That's mostly for you and a lot for me too, because as I say, it feels so uncomfortable and awkward just to sit here and talk to a screen where all I can see is me. So let's get started. My name is Elise Fabricant. Hi, Sarah. And I am here in Denver, Colorado. Some of you may know me as a teacher on Yoga Download. And it's been such an honor and a privilege to teach for Yoga Download for the last 6 or 7 years, I believe. The owner, Jamie, and I were talking about what our community might need during this pandemic. And I've been seeing so much more interest on the online yoga, which has been wonderful, but I also think that there's something missing when we only address the body. So I suggested that we do an emotional and mental wellness check-in as well. I'm going to see how it is if I take off my glasses. Yeah, that way you can see my eyes a little bit better, and I can still see. So here we are doing an emotional and mental wellness check-in, and I'm so glad you've joined me. Along with being a yoga teacher, until the pandemic, I was also a massage therapist. But the work that really lights me up the most is my work as a health and life coach. I specialize in helping women, usually between 30 and 50, get unstuck, unstick themselves from limiting beliefs that may have been keeping them really small, so that they can start to live big, bold, beautiful lives of their choice. And it's just it's so fun and so rewarding. So to help my community, to help Yoga Download community, to help the community of women I'm connected to, I actually came up with a new coaching program specific for this time during the pandemic. It's the shortest and most affordable program I've ever created, and it's called Evolve, 30 Days from Fear to Freedom. So what you're getting today in this session is actually part of the technique that I'm going to be teaching in the Evolve course, and you're getting it for free. Yay. And I really hope that it's really valuable for you. So we'll be getting into the meat of that technique, and I'll be asking again for some interaction from you so that it feels more experiential. You may also want to grab a notebook to take some notes. Before we get into it, I just want to be really transparent with y'all too, and I know you are a forgiving community. As a coach, there's a lot of pressure to be perfect, to have it all together, and by no means am I that person. In fact, this week I was really struggling. I was at the bottom of that roller coaster that we keep talking about, and really suffering from some imposter syndrome. Had all of those thoughts of like, who are you to lead an emotional and mental wellness check-in on Friday if on Wednesday you feel like a big pile of, So a lot of those shoulds and a lot of those imposter syndrome thoughts. Anybody else? Any of you feel imposter syndrome sometimes? Go ahead and let me know in the chat. Let me know that I'm not alone. So imposter syndrome is just one of the many ways that our thoughts can torture us. Our thoughts cause us pain. The shoulds cause us pain. Circumstances on their own, they don't cause us pain. They're just facts. And we can't control those. We can't control the circumstances of the pandemic, of being home with our kids, of losing work, of someone even getting sick. We can't control any of them. Thankfully, though, we can control our thoughts. So this is a concept that you may have heard in yogic philosophy or in Buddhism. We can't control the circumstances, but we do have the freedom to control our thoughts. In Buddhism, there's a thought that anytime we suffer a misfortune, 2 arrows fly our way. So you may have heard this parable of the 2 arrows or the second arrow. The first arrow represents the actual bad event, which indeed can be awful. But the second arrow is additional to the bad event, and it symbolizes the suffering that we put on top of it. Oops, I have to get rid of this text. Okay, so 2 arrows. The first is the circumstance, and the second is what we take that circumstance to mean, the thoughts that we create on top of it. And that's actually what causes us suffering. So today, I want to teach you a fairly simple, but not always easy, thought mind ninja thought technique to be able to alleviate that extra second arrow, the suffering, okay? This kind of work is all about taking a pause, stepping back and noticing what's happening so that then we can step forward with more choice and freedom. One of the quotes that I absolutely love and I share with most of my coaching clients is from Viktor Frankl. If you haven't read his stuff, go out today and get it. He's an amazing, inspiring Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl. And I'm going to read his quote so I don't get it wrong. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space is our power to choose our response. And in our response, therein lies growth and freedom. So this is all about stepping back, pausing, feeling, choosing, and moving towards freedom, from fear to freedom. This technique I'm going to teach you can be really powerful, really effective for coming out of that muck. I know so many of you have expressed to me that you're feeling just mucky, tired, depressed, unmotivated. This can help you move into a place of action and motivation and inspiration. However, just a disclaimer, it's not always appropriate to do so. Sometimes you just gotta feel the muck. My partner is really good in reminding me this. Sometimes you just gotta have those bad days. The technique I'm about to teach you, though, is not about changing your feelings. It's about really feeling them, honoring them, because we know that what you resist persists. If you're pushing it down, it's just gonna keep coming back. Now, you could just feel the feels and stay in the muck, and when that feels like enough for you, then you're able to come into this thought work process, okay? I'm just gonna watch the time because I'm teaching yoga, which you're all invited to at 4:30 my time. Oh, hey, from Minnesota. Thanks for saying hi. Okay, so let me know if you're ready for this 4-step process to move from fear to freedom. And just type it into the chat. Let me know when you're ready. It's good to have a notebook nearby. Thanks, Sarah. Sarah's ready. Sarah, I'm preaching to the choir here. Anybody else ready? Yeah. All right. Okay. So, step number 1. Thank you. You're all ready. Step number 1. Feel your now. By that, I mean really identify what you're feeling. And identify it not in story form, but really in emotion. Now, when I ask my clients to do this, it can be really difficult. When somebody asks me what I'm feeling, I tend to just go into the story. Well, this happened and that happened and I'm making this meaning, but really what's really valuable is to be able to identify the emotion. So I want you to do this right now. If you're feeling great right now, just go back to the time when you were feeling a little stuck or a little negative emotion, if you will, and identify that emotion with one word. In the future, if you'd like a resource, the emotions wheel or feelings wheel that I'm holding up right here can be really helpful for this kind of identification. And I can send this to you, or you can also find it on the web. When I lost my massage work mid-March, I started feeling a lot of anxiety. The next part of this step, step one, after feeling and identifying the emotion, is noticing where you're feeling it in your body. And I was feeling my anxiety in my jaw and head and eyes. So go ahead and tell me in the chat, this could even be just 2 words, your emotion and where you feel it in the body. So this could be like depressed in my chest, anxious in the belly. Go ahead and just drop it into the chat for me. Yeah. And then we'll move on to step number 2. So once you've found that emotion, which also allows you this freedom to step back, disidentify, and then the emotion, you'll notice, just kind of dissipates a little bit, then you get to locate the thought that's causing that emotion. So again, circumstances never cause pain. Frustration chest, thank you so much. Circumstances, the things that are happening, never cause pain. They're the first arrow. What causes pain and suffering are the thoughts, the meanings we make around the circumstance. Does that make sense? So I think that if you're feeling grief, if you're feeling frustration, there's one thought, usually in the form of a sentence, that's causing that. So my example, when I was feeling the anxiety after having to give up my massage practice, my thought was, oh crap, all is lost. And then I found the anxiety in my jaw and head. The brain makes the thoughts, the brain makes the meanings, and unfortunately the brain is often a liar. Sarah Douglas, who's on here right now, is one of the first people who told me I don't have to believe my brain. I'll always remember that. Thank you, Sarah. So the brain is often a liar, and the back part of the brain, the critter brain, is always looking for danger. Its job is to keep you safe and comfortable and belonging, so it's always looking for what's wrong, right? So my critter brain, when my massage went away, was like, woo, 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 look out, all is lost, all is lost. So that was the one thought that my critter brain was coming up with that caused the anxiety. Now go ahead and identify one little thought, not a big story, but just one thought that's causing your emotion, and drop it in the chat for me, please. I know I just missed one. It's hard to keep up while I'm talking. Loss and sadness in your throat. Thanks, Sarah. What's the one thought that's causing that emotion? One thought, one sentence. Anybody else? I cannot start again. Yeah, so let's all take a moment and just think, try on that thought, like how would it feel to have the belief or the thought, I cannot start again? Ugh. Yeah, good. Thank you so much for sharing. You don't notice that I'm stressed. So this practice about pausing and noticing is so key for you. So liberating. Okay, so step number 1, identify the emotion and where it lives in the body. Step number 2, identify and name the thought that's causing that emotion. Step number 3, find a new thought, a better feeling thought. Create a new and true thought. Now, the part about it being true is really important. So if I were feeling like, oh crap, all is lost, and I tried to start thinking something, tomorrow I'm going to make millions of dollars, I wouldn't really believe it. So what I have to do instead is find what I call a bridge thought. And instead, my new thought that I could start to try on and adopt is, wow, now that I don't have massage clients, I have so much more time for my coaching clients. I have so much more time to create this coaching program. So I can kind of hold that simultaneously a little bit with all is lost, but usually this other thought of like, look at me, I have so much more time comes in. So finding a new thought that either could be held simultaneously or replace the old thought is so key. And this is something you do have control over. This is something that you have choice over. This is something that will lead to your freedom. So identify that old thought for a moment, and then tell me what's the new thought that you could potentially try on. I know I'm asking you to type a lot in the chat just to make sure you're still engaged and getting something out of this. What's a new thought that might be able to replace that old thought that you can actually really believe? Step number 3, find a new thought. And as I wait for you to type that into the chat, I also just want to give a big shout out to Brooke Castillo at the Life Coach School, because she helped me really solidify these 4 steps. Okay, I don't see any new thoughts, but hopefully you've got them, you're jotting them down into your notebook. Let's move on. Gratitude of perspective that you're doing well today. So you can remember, I am actually doing well today. And that thought can replace the old one. Good job. In the meantime, I can spend my time learning and eventually I'll restart. Beautiful. And that's something that's really believable. Yeah. Nice job. Thank you for sharing. All right. So step number 4. Are you ready? Once you have the new thought, so go ahead and think about your new thought, then it's time to really feel the new emotions. So Sarah says we can find ways to create closure and new beginnings. Good. So Sarah, take that thought, start to believe it, and then notice the new emotion that comes up. Everybody do this for yourself. So when I step into this thought, when I try on the thought of, look, I have all this time for my coaching practice now, my new emotion that I can identify on this feelings wheel is optimistic. I went from anxious to optimistic. So step number 4 is to identify the new emotion, and then to turn up the volume on that new emotion, to crank it up and really feel it. So do this with me, you guys. Go ahead and put your hands on your body if you can. Close down your eyes. Feel into that new emotion caused by the new thought. Bring it in with your breath. Visualize it spreading to every single cell of your body. I'm feeling that optimism. Feeling it glow, warm, gold color into every single cell of the body. Washing over the critter brain that always has some protests. Feeling the optimism. And then like you've got a dial on an old-fashioned radio, go ahead and crank it up, turn it up, turn it up, turn it up until it's like at least a 7 or 8 on a scale of 1 to 10. Turn it up, feel it, hold it in you. And notice that maybe this didn't shift everything. That's okay. I'm just hoping that this can get you like 5% closer to freedom and happiness. So you started with a certain emotion. You identified the thought that caused that emotion. You replaced that thought with a new one, and then you brought in a new emotion. Good job. Those are the 4 steps. Pretty simple, not always easy. Just like a yoga practice, it gets easier the more you do it. I hope that was helpful for you. So now I think I have about 3 or 4 minutes. I'm about to take some questions, so I hope you came with some questions. Before I do, I just want to remind you that Evolve 30 Days from Fear to Freedom is open now. I have 15 slots available. I'm giving them first to Yoga Download people. If you're interested in one-on-one coaching with me, I would love to assist you. This is my quickest, most affordable program I've ever offered, specific for this pandemic time of stress. So if you're interested, you can message me directly, or you can find out more on my website, elisefabricant.com. So there's that. And also you're invited to join me for yoga at 4:30 my time, which is in 10 minutes. You'll have to log off of this and into the next event. It's about the process we just learned. Anything that didn't make sense. This could be questions about one-on-one coaching. Could be questions about just how to manage grief and suffering and dis-ease during this time. Whatever you've got, I'm here for a couple more minutes for you. So go ahead and just type them in. And then also a reminder that I won't be teaching yoga on Yoga Download next week. I'm actually having an orientation for grad school, which I'm starting. But then the following week on the 12th, I'll be there to teach class at 4:30 Mountain Time. And I will also be doing another one of these sessions. So if this was helpful for you, please tell your friends. I would love to see you here again, 4 o'clock Mountain Time on June the 12th. I don't see any questions. Last chance for questions. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. Please stay in touch. See you next time. Bye.